Hi, I'm Judy from Fox Cities Quilt Company, and this is Sunday from the Sewing Room, where we give you tips, tricks, and a few tutorials to help you with your sewing and quilting projects. If you like our videos, please hit that subscribe button below and tell your friends. So today I want to tell you that I was making a project this weekend and I made a huge mistake, in cutting. And I was upset with myself because, first of all, it was a lot of fabric, and second of all, it was a matter of time. I needed to get the project done. But what I decided to do was make lemonade out of lemons. So let me tell you what the project was. First of all, I was making this Casey bag. This is a Sally Tomato pattern, and it is called the Casey bag. It's so cute. It's kind of like an overnight duffel, and then of course I had to put that handmade label on it. I really like it. But in the pattern directions, what it tells you to, I gotta straighten my camera here. What it tells you to do is it tells you to take your two main panels and your foam stabilizer. I used Annie Soft and Stable, and on the foam you're supposed to cut a couple corners off on the foam. I didn't do that. I cut the main fabric off. I was so angry with myself because I've made this bag before. You'd think that I would remember, but I was in a rush. I didn't measure twice and cut once. No, I measured once and cussed a lot. So I want to show you what I made with my mistake. And what I made with my mistake was this cute, sweet little pouch. And I put a swivel hook on the end because I figured, well, I can just add it to the swivel hook that is already on this bag. I'm gonna hook it on there and show you. And now I have a little matching pouch for my Casey bag. So let me show you how I did that, and we're just going to pretend it was a happy accident instead of a mistake. For this project, I am using my piece of fabric from the mistake that I made on my Casey bag. I'm going to need a friction pen. I have some leftover lining from the Casey bag that I will use. I also have a leftover piece of faux leather in Very Perry, and I colored the edges, which makes it look really nice, and I'm going to use that as well. I'm going to also use the miles of leftover tape, zippers by the yard from Sally Tomato that I had left. And then sewing clips. I'm going to need a bunch of those. And then I need something to round the corners with, so I just wanted something kind of large. So I just found this ramekin in my cupboard in my kitchen. I will use that to round the corners. And then I also scrounged around in my extra supplies from projects that I have done, and I found a 1/2-inch D-ring and a swivel hook, and I will also use it for this project. So the first thing that I'm going to do is move all this aside, and I am going to make sure that I cut off this part to here and this part to here so that I have a square. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to line this up. It doesn't have to be perfect, obviously, because my project wasn't perfect, but I just want to come up with a square. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this side off, and I'm going to save this because I am going to use this for a hanging loop or something. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this side off, even with that angle. And let's see what I get here. Make sure that that is even. And I cut that off. Okay, so what I have left is this piece of fabric right here. And this piece of fabric is about 14.5 by 12. Okay, so this is way too big for the pouch. So at 14.5, I'm going to cut this off so that this is just simply cut in two, and I'll just eyeball it this way and go like this, and I'm just going to cut that right off in two. So no measurements have to be perfect. So now you know I have about a 7 1/8 by 12-inch square, and this is what I'm going to start out with. The other thing that I found in my stash that I should have told you about earlier is a leftover piece of Soft and Stable. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and attach my Soft and Stable and cut this off even and attach it, baste it to the back of this piece of fabric. And then if I want to, I can quilt it really quick. If you don't want to, you don't have to do that either. But I'm just going to go ahead and quickly cut this right off so that I have something to baste to. So I basted around the short edges of my Soft and Stable and my outer of my pouch together. I just needed to baste around the outer edge. The other thing that I did was I cut a piece of lining fabric the same size as the outer side of my pouch. And whatever size you want is the size that you will have to do. And in other words, mine is about like 7.5 by 12 or 7.25 by 12. The other thing I did was with the scraps of faux leather that I had left over, I went ahead and edge stitched all the way around, and I put my swivel hook in one edge. And again, I just stitched on 3 sides to get that all put together and see how nice that looks. And then I did the same thing with the D-ring. So you can cut these to any size you want. It depends on how much you want sticking out at each end of your pouch. The other thing that I did was I decided that I wanted a bigger curve, so I went and switched out my bowl or my ramekin for a little bit bigger bowl, and I am going to trace around the corner of that bowl. Let me get this centered up for you. I'm going to trace around the edge of that bowl to make a curve, and that curve is what I'm going to follow when I am doing my zipper. So let me go ahead and mark around here, and you're going to want to do the same thing on your, there's one edge, and here is the other edge. Let me get this centered in the camera for you, and let me get this centered on here better. So no big deal, just a little bit bigger curve. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut around there. It doesn't matter to me that this doesn't go to the edge because that's going to be in my seam allowance anyway. This will be squishy enough. There's a lot of room for error here. It started off with an error, and we're never going to call it an error. We're just going to call it a happy accident right now. And then if you want to, you can just lay your second fabric down and cut around there if you'd like. Not a big deal. We're not going to sweat the little stuff because this is all going to get put on the inside. Who is going to look at the inside of your bag? All right, so I know now that I need at least 12 inches, and then I have to account for this curve also, and this curve. So I'm going to, if we do 14 plus 12 is how much? 26. So I'm going to do, I'm going to pull out of here about 30 inches of zipper. And then I'm going to measure that up. And I'll just run through this. So here is 20. That's about 16, 26, and another 4 inches. We're going to call it a day at right here. So that's about 30 inches of zipper. I want to make sure that I have enough. There's so much of this left over from the project that I'm not worried about it. I mean, what else do you do with it except another project? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that zipper, because I'm only going to use one zipper, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull this apart. And then what I'm going to do is take my clips, and I want this to come off the edge, and I am going to clip this all the way around, right sides together, all the way around my project. And when you do this, your zipper tape will just ease right around that corner. And I'll get this going for you. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to come back and show you what that looks like with this zipper tape all the way around. So I have my zipper, just one half of a zipper, pinned or clipped all the way around, and it lays pretty nice and flat. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to lay my lining on here, right sides together, and I am also going to take these clips off and clip that right in. So as you can see, I have this clipped all the way around, and it's all the way around that curve. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to use my zipper foot, and I am going to sew a generous 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around this zipper tape. So I have it stitched all the way around here, and there are a few little wrinkles in here, but it's a tiny pouch, and I don't think anybody's going to look inside my pouch. So now I'm just going to go ahead and turn this right side out and show you what that looks like. And let me get this all turned for you. All right. Now I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine, and then I'm going to give you a top stitch all the way around, and I'll show you what I do after that. Okay, so I have a top stitch all the way around on this bag or this little pouch, and here's what the inside looks like all the way around. And so the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I mark the center. So here is the center of my pouch, and I'm just going to go in here with my pen, and you can see that mark in there. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to find a zipper pull, which I discarded so readily here, and I am going to go ahead and fold this so that I'm going to mark this center too, make sure that I have it good. So I'm going to find that center. Oops, you got to use the right side of the pen. So there is the center there. And I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this zipper together. Do you see that? And line that up. And I'm going to go and I'm going to put my zipper pull. That is a lot of zipper that I have left. Let me cut off a little bit to make this a little more manageable. And then I am going to go ahead and put my zipper pull on here. Hope you can see this, because sometimes I get concentrating so hard that I lose sight of where I am in the camera. Let me get that started. And don't worry if it's a little bit off, because it comes together, and see how that's going to look. How cute is that? Okay, so now I need to, this is what it's going to look like, but I need to open this up so that I can turn this wrong side out. And I am going to, let me show you what I'm going to do. Instead of talking about it, I'm going to turn this wrong side out. Okay, now that I have it wrong side out, I can go ahead and I'm going to find that center. Remember that center we marked? Right there. And then I am going to clip this together. And I'm going to clip here. And I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine. This is a little up, a little high. I got to pull this down. And I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine. And I am going to stitch back and forth so that I have, this is still up a little bit high, isn't it? There we go. So that I have a good base across there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut everything off even so that this is even. And then I'm going to go back and forth across here a couple times. I'll show you what I'm talking about right when I come back. All right, so I stitched across here and I have cut everything off, but what I forgot to tell you to do in the last step was put that swivel hook in even with your zipper. So you can see my swivel hook is in there and I lined it up exactly with that zipper tape. So there it is in there. So the next thing I want to do is I want to get rid of the ugly. So I am going to attach this on my, oops, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to attach this, and this is going to go all the way around. And I am going to go right over that same stitch line that I had before. So let me show you this again. So here is my pouch all cut off inside out, and then I am going to put this so that all of the raw edges meet. This is a single piece of fabric, and then we're going to turn this all the way around. I'm going to clip this and I am going to stitch on that same stitch line or a little further in as I had before. Okay, so I have that binding folded in there. You can see how that is, and it is stitched all the way across, and this will make a cute pouch just as it is if I turned it right side out. Let me show you. And then here is my hanging loop. And let me push that corner out. So this is pretty cute just like it is, but it's a little bland. So I think that what I would like to do is give it a little gusset down here. So I'm going to turn this right side out again. And I'm just going to bring this together, and with like maybe a ½ inch or an inch, I'm going to draw across here. Let's say I'm going to go a ½ inch. Maybe, oh, that looks like, actually it looks like an inch. Okay, so I am going to, I don't know if you can see that. So here we go. I'm going to go across here with 1 inch and mark that. And I'm going to make a little gusset. And I will do the same thing on this other side. Let me put a clip in this quick so that I don't lose my spot. I had to wiggle around the camera there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I am just going to lay this down. I did it 1 inch on that side, so what I will do is 1 inch on this side. Let me get that all lined up. I got that marked across there. And then I will take this to my sewing machine and sew right across there. All right, I have my little gussets sewn in there. And now it's time for the big reveal. We're just going to go ahead and turn this right side out. There is one gusset. There is the other gusset. Here is my little hanging loop. And look how cute this is. And let me zip that right up. Isn't that cute? Look how cute that is. So that's it, making lemonade out of lemons. I made this cute little pouch to go with my Casey bag. It was fun. It was just a little bit of trial and error. I figured out how to do it. I figured out that it's pretty easy, and I will probably make another one because I still have the other side of that zipper. I still have some zipper pulls, and I still have my D-ring to use. So I'll probably make 2 of these and just throw them in with the bag. This is Judy from Fox Cities Quilt Company. Make something with your mistakes, and they'll never be mistakes again. Thank you for watching us. Bye-bye.